What is going on, YouTube world? Steve, Dave, Vinny. Insert Revolution podcast number, 74, I believe. Episode 74. Tonight was sort of on the fence one last Thursday, I think, when I made the placeholders. That's why sort of the flimsy subject. I didn't know if tonight Naomi was going to have a game, so I didn't know if I'd be here. But then she got the co-video on Friday, and so now no game anyway. So we'll talk a little bit about the subject, which isn't really one anybody gives a shit about, but at least it's something for a placeholder and sort of a twist on words. And then back say 10, 15 years ago, I think it mattered a lot more to us when something wasn't released on time, because you built up specific brands, not through flippers and dippers and dipshits, but because you actually had a brand that maintained and continued to climb the importance ladder in the collector's eyes, and then just in like the general sports public that actually had some toes in the water of the hobby. So we'll dive into that a little bit. It'll be a kiddie pool there. and then we might talk about some sort of voting that's going on, because again, that's I've bellered from the shores of Lake Superior, and I've bellered from inside various living facilities, and I'm sure people want to hear it, or they just want to see the reaction, but they're not going to get much of a reaction out of me. But you'll get some opinions, and again, we're never shy about giving those, good, bad, and different. So how's everybody doing tonight?
I've been better. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that.
Still under the weather, but on time.
Yeah, more so on time than what I was, because I'm usually the early one. But you know, sometimes life gets in the way, and you got to take care of some stuff. So it has not been a good past couple days, and it's not work related either. So I'll leave it open for speculation, but I'm not going to do a deep dive into it either, because you don't want to see me like flip my crap either. Nor do I want it to change the dynamic of the show and go down, a full negative roller coaster, so to speak. I'll just let it stew and stew and stew and stew until I end up exploding at some point. But I'll make sure it's not on the show. That I will make sure doesn't happen.
It'd be fun though, at least to see. I want to see.
No, you don't.
I do. It'd be like throwing fireworks in somebody's fire that is burning that white hot glow with 2020 Series 1 commons just exploding and starting a grass fire at a 1-star ranch.
No. Not going to happen, Dave. But good try. Good try. I know. I disappoint you. I'm so sorry. No, actually, I'm not sorry.
You're not sorry. I know that. So, I saw you take a swill. Yingling. I've got Kool-Aid. I might switch to water though if this cough doesn't. Then he's got
Coffee.
Mountain Dew, I know, and
Coffee.
Tim Hortons.
Leave it to Vinny to bust out with the Tim Hortons, Any sort of potential hockey reference that he can throw out there, he's gonna go with it. Yeah. More hockey. Just what I need or want. More hockey related stuff.
It's good, Bobby. I prefer it better than any other coffee out there. Original blend.
I'll stick to my
Your
Folgers.
favorite.
I like Folgers too, but
it's cheaper. Back when my wife used to work for Starbucks, it was one thing. My coffee was always free because all I got was coffee. So that's the only reason why I drank Starbucks. Not to mention, every week she brought home a pound of coffee. That's one of the perks for working there. So I drank a lot of Starbucks, but the reason why I drank it is because it was free.
now the better half got this for me yesterday, or no, today, and then I just finished it. I warmed it up twice, and now it'll be replaced with Folgers because I'll use the cup for a couple days because I like the cup.
Does it make you feel closer to the sport of hockey to save and reuse?
It does. It does.
Okay.
It's the maple leaf. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy.
Interesting.
I hate asking this. I don't give a shit. But what kind of coffee? 'Cause I know there's dark roast and light roast.
Regular original blend Tim's. None of the fancy junk with caramel and frappe and ice and all that stuff. I just want coffee. 2 creams, 2 sugars, bada bing. And then when I'm at home, I just throw some milk and 2 tablespoons of sugar, bada bing, I'm good. I got a Keurig and I just ran out of Tim's because you can buy Tim's for the Keurig.
Yep.
And then I got Folgers left. So I got a good deal on 100 K-cups of Folgers. So I'll use that. Then I'll get some Tim's. And then get some Folgers after that. Switch it up.
And Steve.
You like my retort, though. We all need help. So
Yeah.
at least you're in good company.
Yeah. Oh, Steve. You got to answer the question, Steve.
Do what? Sorry.
Coffee wise. Squirrel.
Oh. Yeah. Sorry, my mind keeps kind of veering off, and I told you it's. I'm trying to focus. Benny, squirrel.
You have no dog growling in the background either. Come on, man.
Well, that's because you have other people there keeping the dogs company.
True.
So, Dave, since you kind of alluded to the funkiness of the play on words as it pertains to the placeholder. Why do I need to close the door, Bobby? You don't want to hear my wife talking on the phone? Is that what you're trying to say? It gets too damn hot in here. That's the reason why I don't close it often. if anybody may or may not remember, when during the Christmas show and sitting here opening the package from Vinny and the Better Half, I had the door closed and I started getting like sweat rings under my eyes because it gets so hot in here.
There were tears of joy.
No, they were sweat rings, I promise you. They were sweat rings. So, but anyways, like I was saying, play on the title, and you had kind of alluded to circling back to, in I don't even want to call it prime years of collecting. But, from a personal perspective, in the event that something does get delayed or whatnot, how it kind of, it's more of an aggravation. But if you think about it, we could also allude it to back in the breaker days, the early breaker days, because breakers tried to do their best to make sure in the event that something new was coming out that they could break it as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because people wanted to see it. I mean, that was really the main focus. Everybody wanted to see the product. Hopefully pull something big, one of the chase cards or whatever. So from that perspective, it would really impact breakers more than anybody else. Because for the mixer guys, for baseball and football or whatever, it was usually always an order through blowout cards. Mm-hmm. So, and typically when you ordered, you were ordering for stuff from stock. So it usually wasn't an impact or a delay in release, so to speak. It was already existing product. It wasn't something new, so to speak. The only delays that you'd run into is the potential of UPS, FedEx, or whatever. Mm-hmm. But, I go back years ago and, like you kind of alluded to, I know, I have a feeling I know what specific products you were kind of referring to, probably like an LCM. For those who don't know, LCM, Leaf Certified Materials, or even Leaf Limited. Back in the early days, back when it was Donruss Leaf Playoff, not just Donruss Leaf Playoff, before it became Panini. Leaf Certified Materials and Leaf Limited were, at least for me, were hot products. I always wanted to. I didn't dip into the Leaf Limited as much because, roughly $100 a box, and you got the same number of hits, but you were only opening one pack of cards. Mm-hmm. At least with Leaf Certified Materials, you had multiple packs. So you kind of got to draw it out a little bit longer. But for me personally, nothing rings a bell in which I was waiting for something to release and it get delayed. I know, like, from the shop perspective, hey, Steven, such and such comes out tomorrow. Can you swing by the shop, pick it up, and, take it home, break it, I need it back in X number of days. And I get a text message later and be like, oh yeah, it was supposed to release today and they pushed it back a week. So don't come by type situation. So from his perspective and dealing with that scenario, it happened frequently. Not to mention a lot of UPS and FedEx delays too, mm-hmm. because he ordered through, I think, 3 or 4 different distributors. And he was still kind of mid-tier. So your top tier guys got their stuff first. And then if they didn't get around to shipping the lower guys, you could potentially wait another day. It's not that it wouldn't, quote unquote, get processed the day of release. It kind of depends on where you were in the pecking order. Mm-hmm. But yeah, at least from my perspective, no major impact. I know Vinny can speak to it recently and the frustration that he had to deal with.
Well, I always look forward back in the day for Flair Ultra and Leaf. Flair Ultra because everybody knows my deep love of Flair Ultra. They're building something in the other room.
Shut up, Anthony.
Huh?
Ooh, hopefully a padded room.
Yeah. Anyhow, and then Leaf because Mario was the spokesman for Leaf for how many years?
Mhm.
Recently, I was charged up for metal because I was hoping there'd be retro in metal and have your legends in metal.
Mhm.
But that did not occur because I was hoping for a jambalaya Lemieux or possibly a PMG Lemieux, but that did not occur. So I got 2 boxes from the better half as a Christmas present. They were ordered in November from Steel City. They showed up, I think, what was it, August? They were due in February. So do the math, about 6 to 8 months. Maybe it was September, 6 to 8 months late, whatever they dropped.
Yeah, because it kept pushing back because you would share an update from time to time anytime you got any correspondence.
Yep. Steel City
And
was good about that.
but I mean if memory serves me right, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not going to go back and sort through the 10,000 text messages. But typically when you got an update, it was pushed between like the 2 to 3 week mark. It wasn't like it was pushed out a month
Yeah.
because they're getting information from, of course, the manufacturer through their distribution. Their distribution then, providing the information to the actual shop itself. So I thought it was like anytime you got an update, it was 2 to 3 weeks later than what it was the previous time. Or did it actually, was it a month?
A month. They would
So it was
actually push it a month.
okay.
They were literally, the one said 2 months. The one I think I got when it first came out that it was going to be late, it was 1 month. And then the next one said it's going to be 2 months late. Then after that, it went like 3 weeks. And then it went like another month because we were getting emails all the time. At least once or twice a month, we'd get an email. So either saying, yes, it's been moved out again, or no, it's still on track for it to come where we told you it was going to come last time. Look, Series 1 is still not out for 2021-22 flagship upper deck for hockey. We got the MVP dropped, so that's out. OPG should be dropping, but we just got Allure and OPG Platinum for 2021. So everything is, we're going to still get 2021 product, and it's going to be 21-22 season. So I think there's 2 products left to drop, 2 or 3 products left to drop from 2021. And then we're already getting 21-22. I think
And then,
there's still basketball and football products left to drop.
oh, there always is. Football product will drop all the way through even after the Super Bowl. There'll be certain products that drop for the 2021 season. That's always the the nice thing about it is, if you think about it, you always have something new coming out.
Mhm.
But with Upper Deck, and since that impacts the hockey collectors, how many products did they drop from their lineup though this year?
I'm not 100% sure for the sole fact that we keep getting things that, what was it? I think Ice was canceled,
Yeah.
but somebody said Trilogy's still going to come out. And then, of course, the Cup's got to come out. No, or did the cup already come out? Yeah, the cup came out. Or was that 1920? I'm so confused.
The cup is usually one of their last kind of products that drop because that's kind of like their exclamation point to the season, so to speak.
Hold on. I'll tell you right now.
But I was curious because I can't remember who it was or where I saw it. Hell, it could have been Instagram. It could have been somewhere else. I I don't remember the source. If I did, I would of course give it credit where I saw it. But there was a handful, 3 to 5, give or take, of products that were on the release schedule that Upper Deck decided to be like, no, we're not releasing.
And then after that, somebody said that they were going to come out. They were still going to do them. That was so. I'm not sure what to take, but it was 2019-20 the cup came out. So 2021, the cup still has to come out. Trying to find the email I got that told me.
Does anybody, and I know I'm asking a lot potentially, but depending on connections and friendships that you make in the hobby or whatever, does anybody have access to the release schedule? Just out of curiosity.
Car-
I'm
car-
I'm, go ahead.
Cardboard Connection has it. It's pretty solid too. It usually
Yeah,
tells you what's coming out.
but do we know for sure that that's what's coming from the distributors and or the manufacturers?
Mm,
That's the only reason why I was asking. Because years ago, uh, the shop owner would share the release schedule with me because he would identify which ones that he was going to be breaking. So it was like in the event that I needed to kind of rearrange some stuff on the personal front to make myself available to break it and everything, he did it just to give me a heads up. And I don't even remember where his came from. My guess is probably from one of the distributors, whether it be GTS or Peach State or whichever one was out there that he used. Um, do they, Carlos? Okay. And that's the thing. With blowout cards, I've always wondered how they kind of fall into the mix. I'm guessing they order through distribution like most shops do, because very few shops order direct through the manufacturers, and even if they do, their allocation is probably minimal at best, unless you're a David Adams or maybe a Burbank or something like that, where you have excess clout and volume and things along those lines. You may be able to get more stuff directly through Panini Upper Deck or Tops or anything along those lines. But it's been years since I've been on blowout, and that's the only reason why I was asking if we knew for sure that what they're providing comes through distribution or maybe from the manufacturers. Yeah, that's true, Carlos, without a doubt. I mean, you can't even post your box prices online. You have to call and actually like talk to the shop to get the price. But anyways, Dave, from your perspective, so Vinny mentioned metal specifically, and the fun that ensued of it consistently being pushed back. I kind of touched on mine. Do you remember anything specifically from back in the day in which you actually experienced a delay on something that you kind of went to go get and come to find out it hadn't released?
Not that I can think of. It's been more so the last 10-ish years. Like you said, if even if Hobby Box Chris, if he's sitting there and he's like, well, certified materials comes out tomorrow. For nothing else, that fills my afternoon with watching breaks. Just to see, like you said, if a mirror black gets pulled or something of that nature. But those are always minimal. Maybe weather factored in. Distributor didn't get as much as he said he thought he would. So instead of 8 cases, you get 3 or whatever. So and they come like late because they came late to him. But yeah, more so recently with all the shortages of materials and whatnot to make the cards, the upper deck. It's a fiasco that's been going on for a bit now with their pushing the dates back and back and back and like we're gonna cut this. We're we're not. Well, shit or get off the pot. We harp about it a little bit. Transparency. Again, we've got a customer base that's close to frothing at the mouths for this stuff, especially when you can't even put out the flagship. Imagine if Topps baseball didn't come out at the beginning of next month. Imagine that. How many people would be up in arms? No matter what you think of the product, there's a huge group of collectors that's always they'll buy a case, they'll buy like a jumbo case, they'll buy whatever they can get their hands on because that's their brand. So it's for some of the stuff I wish they'd push back in lieu of some big redemptions. I wish they'd sort of think that. Be like, hey, let's say Tom Brady's a rookie this year. NT, the patch autos. It's like, well, he hasn't got a chance to sign him yet. Well, it's a redemption. That can go on forever. So now you're chasing after something you don't even know if you're going to get. A lot of these, it's not like, hey, RJ Sauer didn't sign anything, so we're just going to stamp it, no autograph. The 02 contenders, I don't know if it was Ashley Lally or somebody had the no auto stamp on there too.
Ashley Lally was one of them, and I think there was another one from that year too. I think that was the one year that there was a couple.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, I get where, though I'm sure whoever the other one was probably didn't have huge careers. It wasn't like Julius Peppers or somebody of that ilk, but at the same time, let's say you're a Hawaii Rainbows football fan, or you live on the island, or you're a Broncos fan. You want to get a Ashley contenders because he came out pretty strong. And now all of a sudden it's like, no, that card doesn't exist. Well, why? Don't put it in the set. Or I knew they did it with one of the either NT or Flawless, where they didn't sign it the one year, but the next year they put him in to like the format.
That's happened a lot with it's Immaculate. I've seen a lot of stuff for like TD, for instance. It's X year design, but it's released in the following year's product.
Mm-hmm.
And Immaculate is the only one that comes to mind, at least from, impacting my player collecting perspective. But I could see how there could be others. I could see how NT could do something like that because a lot of people look for NT.
Yeah. So when you do that, it's like, yeah. If you were big into like player breaks or team breaks, it's like, man, I see TDs like on 6 cards. Let's go. And then there's nothing. You're like, okay, I've been in like 20 breaks now. I don't expect to see it every time. But in the same regard, you're like, something's got to hit at some point. And if I've watched 10 breaks or 20 breaks or 30 breaks, and okay, we're up to 50, and I haven't seen a TD. Okay, now you're going through the process of breaking. Let's say you even get a wild hair up your ass. You're like, okay, I'm going to buy a couple boxes, a case of Flawless or whatever, and be like, I'm going to throw a lot of money towards it, but I want to get one of these TDs. Nothing. It's like, okay, now we're up to like 51 breaks. And then like 2 months later, you find out like, well, Terrell Davis isn't going to sign anything. His contract like ran out, let's say, whatever, hypothetically, and it's like he's not going to do this. It's like, I don't know. Again, I don't know if what's his name, Paul Lasco. What kind of ramifications would that be for a company where you are? It isn't. Hence, the placard, the place mark or placeholder. It's not like wrestling where you had here's the card, the bottom with the asterisk, card subject to change. You've got a checklist for a set. If you don't show, like for the grocery business, you get sell sheets like, okay, here's like the fall, here's the summer, the spring, whatever, of certain, like here's bakery, frozen, regular grocery, maybe meat, whatever. You see that, and again, on there, sometimes it's like quantities are limited. But where's the sell sheet to like the consumer, like something that they used to make, or you would get them at like a hobby store? What then becomes your, again, if you had that kind of fundage to do it, where would your legal ramifications or your, not I won't say responsibilities, but what action could you take? Because you've been led to believe, hey, these particular players' cards are supposed to be inserted into said packs. As you go on and on and on, you've watched countless breaks now. You're up to like 100 breaks. Still nothing. And you're seeing Brady 101s. You're seeing Manning 101s. You're seeing Marino, Joe Burrow, whatever the rookies are that are in said class. And you're like, I'm looking for fucking Terrell Davis. Yep, Hall of Famer. But it's not like it's Joe Montana. I'm not looking for a Bart Starr cut where there's a 101. I'm looking for a tier of select numbered autos, and again, 20 to 15 to 10 to 5 to 3 to 1, whatever the serial numbering is. And nothing happens. That's where I wish, push it back. If you have him, you have somebody else. If you don't have, let's say, 5 signers, push it back. Push it back a month. Like, hey, get these in. Here's $1,000. There's an extra $1,000 on top. Just get them done. That's all we're looking for. Again, so even sweeten it by saying, hey, you know what? Kid's going to want to pull your auto on a card, then they ain't going to harass you somewhere else. Again, probably not going to happen, but at the same time, give them a little seed of that knowledge and see what happens. But that's the only time that I've thought of why companies haven't pushed stuff back to be more cognizant. And again, I know it's the reasoning, it's money. Cognizant of the customer or the consumer. So that would be about the only time I really follow it, is when I start seeing like, okay, man, there's a lot of redemptions. Okay, if it's some 6th-round tackle from Savannah State, whatever. If it's like one of your top 10 picks, you're like, I know like Saquon Barkley was a lot of redemptions or had a lot of redemptions. It's like that's probably not a good sign when one of your most collected rookies has like autograph redemptions in nearly everything. That might be a problem you want to rectify and fix pretty quick. But I don't believe they have yet. Never seen a contract for like the signings of like Panini or Topps or NFLPA for like these guys. For me, if I'm doing that, I'm having a time limit, and if you do not do it within said time limit, again, if you're leading the league in rushing and you're going to the Super Bowl, there's going to be some language in there that's going to like say, hey, you know what? I get it. You're on the Jets and you're 3-14. You got plenty of time. Autograph some here and there. You don't need to do them all at once, but the product is supposed to be packaged on this day. We need them by this day, so a few days prior. If they are not by the packaging day, you will be null and void of collecting any earnings from us. The contract will be broken. And we have the right to go publicly announce this, that you have voided your contract with us due to not following a very simple, hey, autograph the cards and have them back by this time. So that would be my, I won't say insight, but that would be sort of when I start thinking of like pushing shit back. If you don't have some of your big guns, why the fuck put it out? Because those are people that are collectors are looking for it. Big collectors, shop owners, team collectors, kids that are just getting into watching football, baseball, whatever the sport is. If you don't have, and like I said, Saquon Barkley was a guy that had a lot of redemptions. It doesn't have to be a veteran, but for the veterans, you know, most likely you're going to have a insanely limited number of cards to autograph, especially with like the top tier guys.
You know the reason why they won't do it though, right, Dave?
Why, Steve?
Money.
What?
Manufacturers don't care.
Why don't?
We've said this for the longest time, and that's that's the one hope that maybe some of us subconsciously or hypothetically or even standing firm that fanatics will take notes on some of the faults and the shortcomings of some of the card manufacturers. Mm-hmm. That we understand the whole purpose of this is to make money. Okay, mm-hmm. We get it, but at the same time, there's more to it than just money. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, they don't care. And those situations prove that, let's be real, manufacturers don't care. They're mm-hmm. never going to care. We have a set schedule and a timeline. We have numbers that we have to meet, and in order for us to meet numbers, whether it be quarterly, yearly, whatever, they're gonna push it out regardless. From a collector perspective, I can't disagree with you. It would, in my opinion, it would be wise to try and release a product that's inclusive of like your top tier guys. And I'm not just saying rookies either. Saquon, like you said, is one valid point. And if you buy into breaks and you're a giant collector, you kind of dread the fact that every time one gets pulled, you're going to have to wait for it because it's redemption.
Mhm.
But on top of that, it also, some of your legends, some of your Hall of Famers, some of your legends, they're redemptions for whatever reason. And, it could be because the way that they word the associated contracts, that there is no quote unquote recourse for some of these athletes. It's strictly money. But they don't care.
Mhm.
They don't care. I didn't even ask, Bob.
I know the rules. What's going on, guys?
What's going on, man?
How about that win last night, Vinny? You guys already talk about it? Okay. I almost bought ESPN Plus just to watch it.
Why put yourself through that?
What?
Why put yourself through watching it?
Why? The Penguin game.
Oh, the Penguin game. I thought you were referring to the football game. I was like, why put yourself through that, man? Come on.
No, that game was. Even my wife was like, "This game's terrible." So that should tell you.
What they were down 3-0 to Vegas at the end of one.
3-0. Came back. Yep.
And the NHL network had them dead to rights. Vegas is hitting on all cylinders. The Penguins can't handle them. Yada, yada, yada. Kristen Jarry can't handle these guys. Uh-huh.
I liked it. I just watched while I was taking the dog out. I had started this video and finished it when I was taking the dog out. His name is the Card Boss. I don't know him, don't watch his channel. It was just something recommended to me because I watch PSA reveal videos, and that's what it was. But it was like he showed a LeBron 2016 optic black velocity, and he showed some like 2004 or 3 Kobe Bryant Topps Chrome 2004 refractors. And then he showed a bunch of Zion mosaics and a bunch of Lucas. And he just was like, he had bought them last year when all those cards were like $100 raw or more. Pay the then $20 to get it graded. Wait 14 months only to have the cards come back. Some of them PSA 10s are selling for what he got them for raw. So people just lighting him up in the comments. Welcome to the junk slab era. He's like, yeah, you better get rid of those now because they'll be, and by 2024 they'll be $50.
Well, as we said that too, wait till everybody gets their stuff back. I mean, it's all going to be a heavy dose of basketball. So you're going to have 18 million Prism Zions graded 8 through 10.
Yeah, he made the grand conclusion of rarer and more premium stuff is going to hold value. Whoa!
Wow!
I was not aware of that. I don't know, man. It's like they're all out there, I guess, and not that I offer anything exponentially better at all, but that's why I don't offer advice at all.
I'm making a note to myself to remind me of that.
I'm glad I was sitting down because that's a hell of a revelation.
Rare and premium stuff. That's what's going to hold value. Just to reiterate that for the viewers out there.
It boggled my mind when I was back in the hobby and said, well, base cards are getting their due. I'm like, Base cards are always cool. I always wanted the base card of Mario, but I wanted those inserts because the inserts were always cool as all get out.
You can always find a base card, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was somebody in Pittsburgh that was selling base slots of Mario, 50 at a time. So I won 26 base slots of 50 to 100 base cards from Fleer Ultra, Leaf, Atomic, you name it. It was the base card. I have them all sitting in jewel cases, just sitting there. I got them, but I only paid like $50 for 1,000 Lemieux base cards. To me, I was like, cool. I'll put 9 in a page, and there I go. And then anybody needs a Lemieux for you, a Lemieux for Vinny's collection. One for you, one for you. And
Do you pick up any of that Pro Set hockey?
I didn't buy any boxes, but I did get the red and the yellow base card variants.
Okay.
For cheap. But I was more excited about the Tim Horton stuff. The 2021, 2022 Tim Hortons Team Canada stuff that had him in jersey. He has 4 cards. He has a base card, a captain's insert, a trio's insert with Gretzky and Messier, and a canvas card. So I got all 4 of those coming since I can't buy the packs because they don't sell them at our local Tim's, only in Canada.
Ah. Darn.
You weren't hitting that wrong button, dude. See?
That's hilarious.
It's a good thing he was muted because he dropped the fuck.
I just caught it on the replay on my laptop. There was no sound. I couldn't see it.
Yeah, he was muted when he said it. Just he's been struggling with that lately.
Letting the emotions, getting the best of you, man. That's all right. Dogs will do it to you.
It happens.
And yeah, technical difficulties will do it to you too.
They're very I don't know how to describe them. They're more humans than they are dogs. And that's probably my fault because I treat them so well. But I treat them like children. So, Dad, look at me. Dad, look at me. Look at me. No, me, Dad. And
they don't understand the me time though. This is
No.
Dad's now.
no, they have no
Or
idea.
I can send away.
And that was perfect timing. Wherever it came from, there was a bleep in the background as you said that too. I don't know where it came from, but they're like somebody's watching something that a bleep came across.
You guys are upping your editing skills or your production skills, I guess. You got a beep button now.
Yes, you keep telling yourself that, Bob. That's exactly what's going on. Exactly.
That would be my TV. The better half's watching something.
Gotcha. Well, we know
So-
Dave's watching something too, but he has the volume turned off.
It's low. It's like a 2 or 3, and it's. What do you think? What do you think I'm watching?
Tuesday night, that's probably The Bachelor.
Is it bad that Bob actually knows what day The Bachelor comes on?
That's a complete guess. I have been watching regular TV recently, and like I saw commercials for just the shows that are on TV today, and I'm like, no wonder I don't watch TV anymore. Because so there's the show called Chicago. I guess it's pretty good, but they have like the fire department, the
Chicago
police
Fire.
Yeah.
Chicago,
and then
yep.
like the hospital. Do they just play back to back to back? And then are there crossovers within the shows? Like you see so that's kind of cool. But then I see the clip for The Bachelor or whatever, and it's like, has anybody ever taken a rose back? Dun dun dun. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's terrible. But there's a place for reality TV, just not. Olympic trials.
Yeah, at the junkyard.
Very nice. We're gonna try to get into it a little bit this year because it's winter and there ain't really much else to do. And
So-
sports country, all that.
Yeah, look at the Olympic trials with Gravedigger and Dennis Anderson.
Oh, nice. I thought I saw a skier on there, dude. That's why I said that.
Well, originally when I saw whoever was interviewed, it looked like he had like an equestrian helmet on. I'm like, Winter Olympics? No. But then I started seeing, when it played a little bit longer, of course, started seeing, the monster truck.
We went to a monster truck rally back in the day at the old Civic Center in Wheeling, and Tractor Pull, I think it was actually called. But they had they just had this one. It was so loud in there. They give you earmuffs. I had sensitive ears. It was just a nightmare. Like my hands are over my ears. His hands are over my hands over my ears, and he's just his ears are just melting. I guess.
I guess it's a good thing you never went to a drag race then.
Oh,
yeah, probably not a good idea.
You want to talk about loud.
Yeah, the smell
Especially-
of fuel in the air.
Especially walking into the pits when they fire up the Top Fuel dragsters or the funny cars. It's not just the sound of the engines, that freaking whatever the hell it is that they put in them. That burns your eyes and starts disintegrating your throat if you're not careful.
almost like that jet fuel.
What was that, Dave?
When they pump it in to start the car, I don't know if it's ether.
I can't remember what the heck it's called that they actually use in the Top Fuel and funny cars. I used to know it just because I went with a buddy every year.
Just the one that's constantly as they're backing up, the crew members spraying it, almost like the WD-40 can. I don't know if it's that or.
There it is. Danik said, yeah, methanol. But it's cool as hell to watch what they do between races, because after every race, if they move forward, they tear the damn thing apart and they rebuild the engine between each race. And there's only 2 or 3 guys doing it. And they're still, if you watch NASCAR, the whole purpose is, the pit crews are very fast. But even when they're tearing it down and rebuilding it, because they still only have so much time between, when they get it back there in the next race. And they go to town, man. Freaking big ass toolbox, and it's sits in the middle of it, and you got one guy on one side and the other, and they're just, it's cool to watch. But I tell you what, it's loud, very loud, and that the fuel burns it burns your eyes and your throat and your nose. It is potent.
There are 3 guys that graduated within. Trying to think when my brother graduated. It was 99. He would have been 02. So 03. So between 97 and 03, there's 3 guys from Ely that work on dragsters. One lives down in Indiana. I think he used to work for. He still might. Cruz or Tony Pedregon. And then 2 are down in North Carolina. Don't remember. I can picture the guy. But I don't know if they both work for him or they work for separate entities down there. But yeah, they went to that YO Tech, and that's a huge school for wrenching on motors. If you pretty much I think after the first year, you pretty much are guaranteed a job somewhere, because that kind of the curriculum out there is you are not just like putting in a Fram oil filter and that's like your fucking senior project. You are pretty much required to do something akin to building an engine and having it fire up and work and all this. And so it's fun to know that. Again, I haven't talked to the guys. I know Brainerd, they've got their every year they have the drag races there. Still haven't been to one. I need to go. I want to see John Force before he retires. That's sort of like the Dale Earnhardt. When you thought NASCAR was Dale Earnhardt, when you think drag racing and funny cars, it's John Force. So see him before he goes in the sunset. And but yeah, it's just a small world where three guys from a fucking town of like at the time probably like 3,800 go down and are building engines for Top Fuel and funny cars. It's like what? You'd expect that maybe out of like, let's say, Tennessee or Texas or again Carolinas, Georgia, Northeast Minnesota. It's like what? Should it be like lumberjacks or something up there? So
They have those too.
yes, there's plenty. I mean, we on this show we offer diversity.
I'm not gonna sit here and say that I've never gone down the tree cutting rabbit hole on YouTube.
Mm.
Something therapeutic about that.
Those I used to watch those challenges like the
Oh, right.
When they did that, and then the people that would shimmy up with the axes too. You'd have the shoes on, and you'd have like the belt, for lack of a better term. And then you chop the top, and then you sort of like shimmy on down. That was like the goal, to get up the fastest. Chop off that little chunk, and then.
This is ridiculous.
And the log.
What, Bob?
No, I bought this card, and I'm trying to open it up so I can release the shine on it, so I can show it off. But it's in one of these like snap cases, and then it's scotch taped all on the sides. Come on, man. There we go.
Come prepared, Bob. Come prepared.
Right. One card closer. I'm gonna go for the refractor run of Mr. Moss. I guess this year, and you guys are football dudes.
Is that 03?
Did they not have a base refractor? Like, this seems like the black was what I searched for it. Because it's a blue bordered card, right? It's sort of like a light pale blue colored card.
God, I thought they were green.
No, it's blue. 02 is green. It may be. 03 may, because if like memory serves me right, when I was sorting through a bunch of stuff, I didn't stumble across any 03 regular refractors. They were just black refractors. But I thought they were numbered. I think that's I think they're numbered. And if Bob didn't disappear, he could confirm that.
I know the 02 are numbered. The 02 are green, the border.
Yes.
And they've got the black.
Is that numbered?
Say what?
Is that numbered? $5.99?
$5.99.
See?
Yep. And then
my memory does work sometimes.
I got the 2000 recently as well, and they're numbered to $5.99. But others aren't. It's like they skipped back and forth.
And then the rookies are numbered to 150 in 2000. Again, not that you're doing Not that Moss is a rookie, but just for general
Right.
information.
Oh, is that what it was? In 2000, they were numbered to, the refractors were numbered to 2000? Or wait, 599, you said the rookies.
Rookies were numbered to 150, and the rookie refractors were to 150, and the rookies were like to 1650 or something like that. The base rookies.
And you would know it was a Northcutt.
Yeah.
I know Carlos will agree with me. They really missed the boat. Topps did on Brady in 2000. I mean, a Topps Chrome Tom Brady refractor rookie, that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, but it's not the first time that it's stuff like that.
I sort of think of that like, you know, if Jeter would have had a 93 finest or you know, there's some other ones.
Well, to put things in perspective though too, Bob, Topps and Topps Chrome 2001 had no freaking Brady either. Mm-hmm. Brady's first Topps card is 2002.
How many? He has a couple 2001 cards, but not many at all, right? Like less than 5, I thought.
There might be like a UD Victory, like some Pacific sort of name brand.
I just want to see what, if anything.
Because, so when was it 2001 though when he got the nod when Bledsoe got hurt?
Yeah, it must have been in like late October, early November when Mo Lewis said, "You know what, it's Tom Brady time."
Wait a minute. This guy has a 2001 Pacific Prism Tom Brady out of 1,000, and he's got it called a rookie card.
That's 2000 then.
But
of course he does, you know, because people.
2001 playoff preferred.
I hate to say this, but people take advantage of. I don't want to call it ignorance, but people not willing to do their due diligence before like jumping on something.
Well, you wonder, is that like, I don't know. I don't recognize the card as a rookie card, but he's in his Michigan helmet. You know what I mean? So it's the listing says 2001.
Look on the back. Look on the back, and if the serial numbering is in small gold foil, that's the rookie. That's the rookie.
So it's not listed, right? I mean, it's a raw card. You want $1,100 for it, but anyways. But yeah, playoff preferred. There is a victory here. Or no. 2001 Upper Deck rookie effects.
And that is his rookie, Bob. It's listed wrong. I found it.
It is, right?
Yeah, okay. It's 2000.
Playoff preferred and that rookie effects are the only things that are coming up for 2001. Interesting. But yeah. So people say it's like the whole, 2002 is like Brady's second year cards. No, they're his third year cards. So, they like it. Nose like rain, but it's not.
So he has a Fleer metal rookie too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy God, why isn't that more?
I think he's in his college uniform.
No, he's
in Patriots uniform.
He's in a Pats uniform.
It's horizontal. It's not vertical. Isn't it horizontal, Vinny? Yep, horizontal.
I'm surprised that thing isn't more expensive than it is. But Bowman seems to be the shoot du jour.
There's no PMG version of that one, though, I don't think.
There's an Emerald.
The Emerald, like 1-in-1 sub or parallel. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I call it PMG, but why not? Everybody else uses the term.
Somebody they'll put the Emerald parallel as a Emerald PMG rookie and sell for $20 million because people are stupid.
Well, it's no different. So TD has a 95 metal, and they do have precious metals, not precious metals. They do have like PMGs, but the only way to know the difference is the number on the back.
Yep.
It has a P prefix. Is it just the P or the PM prefix?
It might be the PM.
I know it has the prefix at
Yeah.
a bare minimum. And this one guy kept listing it as a precious metal. PMG, precious metal, whatever terminology you want to use. And I'm like, is this guy like dumb? Or is he just trying to bank on somebody coming in thinking that his listing is legit? Because it was listed more expensive than any other ones because one had sold on eBay, but it was from ComC for like $41. And the reason why I know that is because I kept watching it. I'm like, I don't have one. At some point, I need to get one. But then there's this one guy, and I'm going, I almost wanted to mess him, but like, dude, I'm not trying to be ugly or anything, but this is not what you have listed. You're wrong. Fix it.
So that brings up a point. Can I bring up a point? A talking point?
Of course you can. Why are you asking for permission?
Well, right, because that's just my steezo. So there, I don't know, a couple years ago, I remember watching like, so we've all from at one point or another got an email from a Nigerian princess or whatever, you know, like some scam, right? And this dude, I think his name's like James Veach, but he responds to these emails and he basically like is trolling these people because clearly they're scam. So like taking that premise to eBay, when you see like, you know, a 1990, so this is when I first had this thought. It was I just all from time to time will like eBay search Pro Set 1991 and then click to the highest listing. You know, what's that? So there was like a Joe Namath. You remember that 100 card like Super Bowl set that Pro Set made in the gray box? And they had gray tops and blue. Yeah, right. It was the Namath card from that set, and he had it listed as like some rare super short print for like 15 grand or something, right? So I just thought it would be funny to like engage with this guy, like say, hey man, I'm a big Joe Namath fan. I just came into some money recently, like, you know, I'm trying to relive my youth and I want to get back into the hobby and I want to Joe Namath's my favorite player. I really like this card and just try to reel him in or whatever to get essentially some kind of a back and forth to see if like he'll even respond or you know, if he's just gonna like pile it on like the BS, if I ask him, you know, about how rare this card is or whatever, you know, and then just capture that in screenshots and do a video about it. But I was talked out of that because maybe somebody's crazy and they're gonna come kill me. But then I thought, well, maybe I'll just create a faux eBay account and put up a listing and to just have that like recreate that with myself, but that's a lot of work. But just those types of listings, man, crack me up when it's sad on one hand, but you know, I would see it on Facebook Marketplace, somebody's selling like Griffey lots, hundreds of dollars, and it's like 91 Fleer and 90 Donruss, and it's got a 4-row box behind it just full of like brown cards, you know, so I don't know. It's like I'm curious to the mindset of that. Like, I guess if you're just a scammer, that's just the way your mind works. Like, whatever, I'm gonna put a bunch of stuff out there, see if I can get any bites.
Or they don't know any better. How many listings have you come across? No, how many listings have you come across since the hobby boom, It's everywhere as it pertains to media coverage and all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
Come across auction listings or buy it now best offer, baseball card collection, $10,000. And they
Sure.
use all the pictures and it's all 90 Donruss, 91 Donruss, 92 Fleer. It's like, dude, you almost want to tell them. I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but
Yeah.
just because you see all this stuff on the news, that doesn't mean that everything is of substantial value.
eBay should
No
initiate
disrespect.
a comment section for on listings. They should initiate a comment section for listings so people could just get lambasted when they needed to be.
Yeah, no disrespect, but this is garbage.
Yeah.
You spent money to list this, and it's garbage. I'm at least going to be nice and respectful and try and avoid the possibility of you getting, threats or something and have a bunch of rude people come in and say, have you lost your mind? Are you, a few fries short of a Happy Meal? Whatever it may be. It's like, just because you see all this stuff doesn't mean it's of substantial value. And it happens in card shops too. I've seen it. People come in with a bunch of 90, 92, 93 dollar, just what we all know of as the junk wax era. And, these card shops, they look at a few things and they're like, yeah, I'm not interested. Well, why not? There's a Nolan Ryan, and, it's kind of like, dude, there was like 10 million of these produced. These aren't rare. There is no value. They're about 5 cents a piece. And do you want me to insult you? Hey, I'll give you $5. And the only reason I'm giving you $5 is because I want the box that it's in. I just
Right.
would you rather than be honest and be like, I'm sorry, I'm not interested because of A, B, and C, and yet these people get hurt over it.
You buy it and then you message the seller, hey, you can keep those cards. Just send me that box. That's really all.
I need the yellow top loaders.
Right. The flip side of that, and these are the stories that I love when you find, and I know Vinny's got some, I know Dave's got some, I'm sure Steve, like you find a card that's not listed good, and it's a card that is very for whatever checkbox you want to it's rare, or it's just they don't know what they have, essentially, right? Any stories there of pickups that stand out, like I can't believe I got this card for that price? And you don't have to talk figures or anything, but
well, one specifically comes to mind, and it was my 98 Skybox Thunder Super Rave. It was, I think they had it listed as like 99. They didn't have Super Rave in the title. It was like 99 something parallel. And, of course, I did my due diligence. I'm sitting there going, man, I'm pretty sure that's a Super Rave, and I don't have one. So, of course, I watched it, and, yeah, I ended up snagging it. And even for me at the time, I paid over high book value at the time. But when that happened, really all you had stuff based on was like book value and, any comps, that type of stuff. You gauged a lot of stuff based on low and high book value as it pertains to what you may or may not be willing to spend on something, because the market wasn't like it is now. And I was pretty stoked and pretty pumped that that I was able to snag it. But the reason why it didn't go higher is because it wasn't listed right. And for anybody who's it's a 25.
Yeah,
it's a huge card, huge.
Yeah.
And they notated it in the header or the listing, the auction listing, that it was out of 25. So it's not like they missed that piece.
Right.
It just, unless, if you think about it, unless you're looking specifically for a player you wouldn't have stumbled across something like that. If you're actually looking specifically for a super rave and it's not anywhere in the description or the title,
Yeah.
as an individual looking for it, you're not going to come across that listing.
When I kind of got back into the hobby in like 16, 15, or, you know, more fully in by 17 with like the Judge and Mania rookie and stuff, blah, blah, blah. That whole idea of like photo variations and things, and you have to check like a little serial number in the back, like that was all new to me. So like imagine how many super short prints are sitting in people's collections that they don't even know, because there's no real way to know if you don't know. You know?
We do.
And yes, Ty, Vinny had that happen a few times.
Oh.
There's something wrong, and he jumps on it, and then they come back and they cancel it.
Infamous for that. Like David said, it was a Zenith artist proof. Lemieux for $1. Buy it down, 99 cents. And then 6 minutes later, it was canceled. And I still have that card because later on, nobody bought it. And he finally sent me an offer, and I counter offered, and I took it down. So it worked out in the end.
And I've got eBay. I don't even know. That's stupid things I've bought off. I still go back to the Omar Vizquel printing plate in the shop, which wasn't even a shop. It was just some guy had some like used electronic shit, and it had like a little that type of board outside, said sports cards. I'm like, fuck is this? Let's go. And start leafing through the things. And again, I wish I had more money, but we were on the way to a wrestling event. So I had pigeonholed money for like autos, meet and greets, shit there, because there's a lot of guys there I wanted to meet. If I would have had more money, I know there was some other stuff that I should have bought. But to get that Vizquel for $4 and flip it for $1,000, that's when like the two dudes were going back and forth for Vizquel in like 2016, I think. 2015 or 2016, and it was just nuts. I mean, it wasn't up for more than a half hour and it sold. They just hit the fucking bin. And two that I wish I would have got. I still remember at a show in Virginia at the mall. It's like, oh, there's a show today, and I think my mom and I were there, and yeah, just look around. Don't take forever, because I usually, again, like to look and like chat. Saw my one buddy that used to work at the sports card shop there, so I talked to him for a while. But there's this older guy. He had like 09 tops, and it was all in a binder, just everything, inserts and like jerseys and shit. And I'm looking. I should have bought them. It pains me to even say this, because again, it proves that, and it shouldn't. It's not like I'm putting myself on a pedestal of like knowledge, but it proves anyone can fucking make huge blunders. The most seasoned veteran, the newest guy in the hobby. Again, it's just how you learn from those blunders. The guy had an A-Rod sketch card, 101. I'm glad everybody's sitting down, because when the prices come, you're going to fucking throw your... flip the desk or throw the computers or the phones. And then he had I want to say Roy Halladay, like the By the Letter, the game used nameplate. I don't know what number or what letter it was. I think maybe an L or the Y. You wanted 25 for the letter and 30 for the sketch. And my dumbass, I'm like, oh, I want to. This is where it, like the first domino of like, probably not the first, but one of the first. You got to stop with the players. Just like because some other guy had Josh Johnson shit, I found a D'Amico Ryans for a good buddy of mine. He needed it, so I bought that. And I didn't know the show was going on, so I only had like $70. That was like the thing that if I would have known, I could have brought a couple hundred, and those would have been okay. I don't need them, but on the forums, I can go on Sports Card Forum, Blowout, back at Freedom Cardboard, wherever I was at, I'll go there and peddle the wares there. And I still, that's one that I miss and I think about all the time. That I'm like, you dumb fuck. Absolute lunacy why you didn't pick those up. You could have probably even said, hey, I'll give you 50 for these two. And be done with it. And the 2 101s, and you, with my propensity for holding on to stuff, those would be easily, Halliday's probably a $200 card. A-Rod, probably close to 100, maybe a little over, depending. So, for every good story, for every series of good stories, there's always going to be the misses. Like, oh, fuck, why didn't I? What was it? Dirk Bentley, what was I thinking? I don't even know.
So something along those lines, and so my dad and mom are both retired, and they'll drive 2 hours west into Ohio to go to these little like Amish towns and crafts, and it's like there's a little stretch of road. It's all real Americana type of stuff. And so one of the times they came back, my dad's like, hey, I found a guy in one of these shops who just, again, it's like you got wreaths, that people made hanging on the wall here. And then like right next to here is like a guy with like a loose table with just some cards and packs and stuff. But with the packs that he brought back, they were all like early 2000 Bowman packs. So like Harper and like 13, like Correa and stuff, like the players that were popular at the time and still popular today. But like, he's like, he just bought a couple of each because he doesn't know what is what. I said, were there any like 09 there? He's like, there might have been. And we know what that is. So it was just like, he's got to get back there. He's got, well, next time you go back there, like, make sure you hook up with this guy, blah, blah, blah. So, like, the next time they did go back, I actually was off work that day, and I went with him. And I was just pumped because, like, otherwise, he's going to be on the phone telling me what he sees, describing the box. It's going to be a nightmare. I was like, I'll just go with you, and we'll just do it right. And this is the heartbreaking part. We finally get to the spot, right? And we're weaving our way through the store, and it's like he gets to the point, and he's like, he was right here. Like, and then we find somebody that sort of works there or whatever that knows, hey, there used to be a guy. Oh, he retired last year and went to North Carolina. Like, so there's any way of like getting a hold of this guy? No, I mean, just no. So it was just nothing. It was absolute nothing. So my dad felt real bad. So he's like, we'll find a Target or Walmart and we'll get some blasters. I was like, okay, Dad. Way to make your 38-year-old son happy. I guess as a parent, no matter how old your kids are, you never want to disappoint them. But yeah, it's a 2-hour drive, like I said. So like all the wheels are just like, maybe there's this there, maybe there's that there. Nothing.
It was like going to Rogers, Ohio.
Oh yeah.
What a big trip that would be, because that had cards, it had fake sunglasses,
right,
fake Rolexes, guys,
banana bread.
Yeah.
Are you sure they weren't fake cards?
Well,
no.
So they're I got, oh shoot, I took the cards back to my dad, but so I don't know if did I tell this on here about the fake cards? I did, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because you were showing some of them.
Yeah. What are you doing? No.
How'd the guy take it?
What'd you say, Steve?
How did the guy take it?
I mean, about he dropped five. I think he dropped 500 on about. Just it was insane. He's okay. He's doing all right. So like nobody wants to take a loss, that's for sure. But he has other stuff that eventually at some point, him and my dad will hook up, and I'll try to assess some. He was a big Cincinnati Reds guy, so he probably has a bunch of like, the big red machine stuff, which carry good stuff there for sure.
That it does.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I was just curious because I mean, when you originally showed him, I mean, you were.
I was
I
bummed.
don't want to say. I don't want to say you were like excited at the possibility type situation, but the more and more you started looking at him and everything, it was like I could just imagine the sinking feeling. It's like, yeah, this freaking sucks.
Oh yeah, because like I said, he gave them to me right when I'm picking up my kid, and I gotta hurry up and get her to get to daycare. So I didn't have time to leave through. My parents' living room's dimly lit. I'm looking at them like I'm so excited to get home to check them out, and then I find they're like cardstock, and I start looking closer and closer, and they got white edges, and they got every corner is like hurts your finger when you touch it. So yeah, these are clearly fake, but oh well.
When I went back to Pennsylvania in July, and I went into a thrift store, and they had 2 RPAs of Connor McDavid. And I'm staring at these things, and they wanted $50 a piece. And I'm looking at them. I'm like, the patches were insane. And I'm like, looking at them. And then I kind of sneak my way behind the thing, the stand, so I can look at the back. And it has in little tiny print replica. And I was like, yep. Because there is no way that even in that little town, somebody has to know who McDavid is and know that's worth more than $50 because God, they were gorgeous. And I was like, oh, if they're real, because my buddy Roger sent me pictures of them, and I'm staring at these things, and I'm like, dude, these can't be real. But I'm like, again, these people sometimes are idiots here. I just got to look at them. And I made it a point to go with the better half. And the better half was even looking at them like, those aren't real. Those are too pretty to be real. There's no way those can be real. And sure enough, they were both fake. But if they were real, woo, I could have got a lot of views for those. A lot of them. But I digress. Soapbox retract.
At least hit the right button this time.
There's others. I think there's one Emmett Smith. It was a Fabric of the Game 2000, and that's when they had the tiers of I don't know if it was like Legend, Superstar, Star, and then I don't know what the other one would have been. But they had that, and I saw that at a show in Duluth. Once again, I think this was like 03 or 04. And I'm like, I collect players. Why do I need Emmett Smith? And it was for like $5. And I'm like, fuck. And went out to the car. The guy that collected Grieve, we had went down there. And I'm like, I looked in the Beckett because he had bought the Beckett. And that thing was like $60. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to go back in there and get it. Because it was at the table right when you walked in the door. And I'm like, I remember where it was at. So I spent 10 minutes. They must have seen me looking at that or what. Something happened because I'm like, there's no way in the like 5 minutes that we went to the vehicle and came back that somebody was like, oh, Emmett Smith, and picked that up. Because I'd like tucked it near the back of one of the rows. And that was another one. I could have, like Vinny said, I could have traded that off for.
Yeah, he had to see you stash it though, right? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Like, so that means something. I'm gonna put this card back here. I'm gonna go away and check something real quick.
Yeah. So I was just, wow.
Well, Bob, you know the Target in South Hills Village, right?
Yeah.
And then you walk out and there's that little card shop, right?
Yep.
So we were in Target and I see 6 blaster boxes of Mosaic soccer. I'm like, hot day, finally soccer. Could open these up with C. This will be great. I was like, we'll run and get her pop first from the guy that has 8 gagillion pops. That's that picture I showed you, Dave, where it's just lined up with hundreds of them. So go in there. I'm not in there 15 minutes. I come back out and every one of those Mosaic boxes. I'm sitting there staring at this, like, where'd they go? They were right here. And I'm like, and I'm going over and over again. And I'm like, where did they go? I'm like, who could have grabbed these? Gone. Just gone. So always buy your wax first. I guess that's rule of thumb. When you see it, buy it.
Yep.
Bob, look at the comment.
It closed the portal to get to his house.
Bob, since his hole was filled. Yeah. The hole in my ceiling has been fixed, so my cred's going down, I guess. That was I had a lot going for me when I had that hole in my ceiling, but you know.
How's it going,
Mark? My wife just said she disagrees with that last statement that I had a lot going for me. No, you don't need to hear what these guys saying.
Yeah, just like C. You don't need to hear them. Just look at them.
We at least clean it up when the kids are present.
True.
Try to anyway.
Right. But my night is it's bedtime is swirling around me right now, so and it's too dang cold up in my card room to contain me up there. So yeah, sorry if there's a lot of background noise over here.
Hey Bob, you want to take that real quick before you leave?
All right, this is all you need to know. Rare cards and premium cards are going to be good long-term investments. That's pretty much it.
There you have it, Mark.
And Top Stadium Club has great photography.
Hey, here's another one. Grading is subjective. You know what the newest one is that I keep hearing? Man, those CSG slabs are clear. That plastic is so clear.
They are.
It's clear plastic. I mean, they are, right? But it's just funny how, like, these things get into, like, the nomenclature? And, yeah. I just
checks in the mail, right, Bob?
Checks in the mail, of course. I always send checks in the mail. I actually have my little black book, which is not what you think, honey. It's not what you think. I've just been sort of, I haven't made any videos, but I've been putting ideas down on paper at least. So, and that's one of those overused phrases. in the like, things that you just constantly hear. And then I have the things that you never hear, such as I prefer stickered autos over on card autos. You'll never hear that in the hobby.
No.
I guess you could, but I'd be forced to most people would be forced to disagree.
Yeah, especially I especially like stickered autos and high-end Panini products. That's what, just to be more specific.
Mark is calling you out, Bob. What are you going to do to rectify that situation?
I mean, that's all we. That's just. We should just have a podcast. Like, bring back the cardboard podcast and talk about, to bring up Carlos's idea. Just talk about all the ideas for videos that we haven't done.
Must see TV.
Yeah. Yeah. And then people will steal them, and they'll get YouTube famous, and we'll just be left holding the bag, holding the 91 Pro Set hockey cards.
Mark, and we get it. We know it's not just him. That's called life.
Mostly me.
It's adulting, man.
The content writes itself. Yes, Carlos. Could you use a hand, honey?
Yep.
Okay. I got to go, guys.
All right, Bob. Take it easy, buddy.
Wrap it up soon. Don't have those long, awkward silences like, is this the time to end the podcast? Or like, are we all looking at each other? Yeah. All right. I'll leave you with that later, guys. See everybody in the chat. Mark,
All right.
shove it.
What was that last part?
Shove it.
Oh, okay.
Were you expecting shit up or something?
Not a better half preoccupied.
Until you say something, and then she's gonna rear her head and make a comment.
She just did.
Of course she did.
No.
Hey, right on brand, better half. Right on brand.
Because we live for the brand.
Yeah.
We're gonna stop doing the podcast and work on the brand, and then come back, and we'll be better than ever.
Make sure the brand.
We'll let the brand do the talking.
Sure.
Okay.
Whatever floats your boat. Tickles your fancy.
Pops your rocks, blows your hair back, and I have none. So there we go.
So, Dave, do we want to touch on this briefly? And I'm going to use the term briefly, so we can keep it within reason. Should we talk about this thing that happens every year about this time in January of this fake Hall of Fame? No offense, Mark. Or Bob, if you're still listening.
Yeah, we can.
I said briefly, Dave. Briefly.
That's why I'm trying to think of the words I want to use to get through it quickly. I'm sure as people have seen the cardboard glory hole, Mike, baseball collector, transferred over to the Ticket Leprechaun, which he was known, to Legends Let Never Die, quote unquote ownership of a non-tangible thing, the baseball or the YouTube Hall of Fame, Sports Cards Hall of Fame. He put up a video earlier this week, probably yesterday or Sunday, one of the 2 days.
It was yesterday.
Started the voting process. Vote for 10, 5 get in. 3 years you got to be making videos. 1 year making. 1 year as a content creator to vote.
Yep.
Which you can't do that right away when you make this fictitious concept reality 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was, because then you can't get your friends in. But whoops. Damn it. There I go again. There's that fucking blacklist. But I don't know, sub Brad, whatever, a contributor and friend of the channel, he put out a video earlier. The self-appointed Jesus of the card community put one out too, so don't have a handgun that's loaded ready because you probably won't make it through the list. I tried, and again, believe it or not, if I was on a computer right now, I would queue up Green Day, Walking Contradiction. It never fails to disappoint or amaze. So, I've never, I know it's a sort of the running joke of trying to get me in. I don't care. You see some of the folks that are in there, and it's like, huh, okay, you know that they're whores, and they'll do whatever it takes to get in, or it used to be the self-appointed baseball card Jesus is a right-hand henchman that have the intelligence of a broken egg. So the reason it never started or never was around when we were on in our, always harken back to the heyday, late 2009 through probably like 2012-ish, the boon period of Steve and I, our super heyday, when we had a lot of the same people making videos constantly. The reason why it wasn't around with us is because we have egos. Some had bigger egos. Nobody had an ego that big as the one that's just south of the DFW Metroplex. To come up with this, it's a completely unnecessary thing, but like we've said, it does get you to see different channels. It does get you to happen upon some folks that you may have not otherwise known about. That was the good part about, like, if you were on a week and Mike liked you and promoted you and then took the video down because you got too much flack, that was a thing. You could find some of these channels that you weren't familiar with. Because again, it's been said, a lot of the old guard goes away. Their collection direction completely changes because they just either A, get out of it, or they choose to collect toys, comics, and they're not immersed in the sports card world, as it were. Or you just don't care. You just don't care anymore. You're like, you know what? Some people grow out of it. Like, they're just like, I liked cards, but now I'm gonna gamble. I'm gonna put all my money into, like, stocks, bonds, and diversify that portfolio.
Doge.
Now, I was gonna say cryptocurrency. That's the thing. Sun Doge, crypto, Shiba, whatever it is. But you don't have a lot of those guys. And Brad, who did make a video, and I didn't watch right away because, again, that's one of the things I do enjoy watching, for the pure fact of finding different channels. He brought up the point where, okay, if a lot of these guys, and on the TV, when I signed in with YouTube, I can look, it goes alphabetically or numerically, then alphabetically with what subscribers, and I just can just click down, 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 and it'll start showing like the videos. There's several guys that don't have their videos up anymore. They completely erase their catalog. So it's like, even if you wanted to vote for somebody like, let's say, Ed, A's Fan 7, Herd Fan 87, Matt Colley, you can't because they don't have videos up. All their shit's gone. So in that sense, it sucks because we're all very nostalgia driven. It means a lot to us because we can just go back and so I wish some of that stuff from blog was on YouTube from when Steve busted the cards, because I remember the night of the Babe Ruth game used bat, and I think in the same box there's just like a absolutely ludicrous Marty Marion match that had the St. Louis Cardinal, the beak or the head or the eye or something was just dumb.
His video, last time I checked, it was still up because I have it on my favorites.
Okay.
But it's his recap, of course, because at the time I wasn't recording on blog.
Yeah.
And it was all live and everything else. But I always did my best to try and do like a recap of some of the better cards. Just for those who couldn't come and hang out, it's one of those that, you know, you want to highlight some of the better pulls. I was trying to go back, and obviously I didn't title my videos very well during that time when I did recaps from time to time, because I was trying to find I think it's the Federer Nadal dual auto that I pulled for somebody out of the Ace Authentics tennis. And that was that was a huge card.
Yeah.
Even then, I mean, that was a huge card. But I'm pretty sure it was Federer Nadal dual auto, number to 25.
Okay, yeah, that's slightly.
But I was trying to see if, you know, that happened to make it on a recap. I know the night of the Babe Ruth definitely was, because that is yeah, exactly, Eric, huge. I couldn't remember though if it was the same night that I pulled the Babe, because that update video or the recap video of that night's or that week's worth of pulls, I did clickbait. I'm not gonna lie, and it got a shit ton of views. And you know, there was, I want to say 5 years, 6 years ago, maybe, somebody came back and like posted a comment like, really? That's only like a couple $100 card. Okay, well, here in 2022, that's not, you know, even then, $200 to $300, that's a big card in those days. These multi, you know, the $10,000 and $100,000 cards was not really a thing. On occasion, you would have like the Swagner sale or something along those lines that could, in fact, take the headlines in the card world as it pertains to like big sales type situation. But at the time, that I want to say it booked for $200 or $300.
Yeah,
and the guy spent $125 on the box. So I mean, that in itself was phenomenal. But if you look at something now in the market the way that it is, who knows what that card is? It's numbered at 25. It's a bat card. It's a piece of history. And it's not like Babe Ruth cards were pulled all the freaking time either.
No.
unless it was a higher end product. I mean, this was like Donruss throwback threads or something. I don't even remember specifically what it was, but it was one of Donruss's lower tiered products. However, that was right before Donruss Leaf Playoff got bought by Panini. So there were certain products in which they freaking loaded the crap out of it.
Yep.
And that happened to be one of them. I'll see if I can find the link, and I'll post it in the chat if somebody wants to go check it out.
Yeah, it's not like most of the time when those boxes were broken, it was you got an Edgar Martinez auto, you got like a Chuck Finley patch to 86, and then you got maybe an Aramis Ramirez jersey auto to like 280. So it's not like you're sitting there and like every box you're theoretically getting your money back or your money's worth. So I mean, I remember that night clear as day where, again, as happy or as excited as I was for the Babe Ruth, that Marty Marion, and how sick that patch was. I'm like, oh my God, that's insane. And I mean, I think everybody's just too excited for the Ruth, but I mean, it was almost like crickets for the Marion. I'm like, that's I won't say equally as big of a card, but that patch is just dumb. It's the Cardinals, so I dare to say like the Yankees of the NL when it comes to collectability, because that fan base is absolutely rabid, and you've got a Hall of Fame player that, again, Marty Marion just isn't in every set. So I don't know. It was, and that for you, I would have used clickbait. Throw that up again, Vinny. I don't know if it was that. I thought it was Donruss Classic.
That's Leaf Limited. It wasn't that.
But yeah, that you putting that in the either the title or like the thumbnail, it's like yes, it was. We got the gang together. We were watching box breaks, bullshitting, but you also wanted to do this for your card shop dude. So you had to bring in the people. They see a Babe Ruth coming out. It's like you just pulled a Babe Ruth, and this is from a product 6, 7 years ago, whatever it was. And there's some more of this type of stuff. And again, I don't think there were many boxes of that. So remember, it's like after that, that's all anybody would ask, like right away. You got any more of those? And you're like, no, I just had like one or two, and they're gone. But that's for business. You got to do that. Nobody can fault you for that. Plus, who cares after that? It's like the people that were there to see it, they want to go see it because A, who knows what's going to get pulled? B, what else is there to do on like whatever it was, a Wednesday or Thursday night then?
So I just threw the link in there. That was my quote unquote recap, but it's specific to that box of cards. I didn't do any other additions from a recap perspective in that video, but it's been viewed. Granted, it's not viral by any stretch of the imagination, but it's gotten over 9,500 views, and that was posted in 2011 from an 04 product, if I'm not mistaken. I think and it's the only box that he purchased from me the entire time I was doing it. But I still have his recap video of when he got the package. Last time I checked, I still had it as my favorites. But then again, as you kind of alluded to, there are certain people out there that have completely removed all their videos too. So, and I did remove the crappy one comment or whatever. That was like, seriously, that's only like a couple $100 card, and that was like 5 or 6 years ago when I'm like, you know what? I'm not even talking to you, dude. I deleted the comment. I'm like, just go pound pavement. You obviously don't know what the hell you're talking about. Because,
Yeah.
like I said, even at that time, pulling a $200 to $300 card out of a $100 box, that's big time.
Yeah.
Not so much nowadays because everything is, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. So in today's market, yeah, $200 to $300 is small potatoes, and why would you get super pumped and excited about it? But during that time, that was a big deal.
And Babe Ruth.
Yep. And I'll still see. I keep hoping that I can stumble across it, because that honestly, that would not, the duel Federer Nadal would not be something that I would not include in a recap video if I happen to do a recap video.
Mm-hmm.
But I know sometimes I thought I did them every week, and I may have skipped a week. I don't know.
So yeah, to button hook back to the Hall of Fame thing. So if you want to vote, vote. And I'll throw a ballot out again. And I think the only notation this year I'll actually follow in that original video that Jake puts up, that you just gotta put there, hey, I made a video. Leave it as a comment. Not, you don't need the link. You just need to put, hey, I voted. Here's my I voted for whatever, and here's the video. The video's up. So who knows? Again, it's a very hollow accolade. I mean, Christ, Bob's in there, so fucking, it's got the depth of a fucking wormhole. So,
No
but
hobby hierarchy.
no, not there. Literally the tiniest dick measuring contest to ever occur. So, again, like I said, it's got its benefits. And I've said that from the beginning. I've said you can find some channels you probably aren't aware of, because it's not like there's 50 channels and that's the end of the page. There's a lot of guys and gals out there, a lot of folks out there that are making videos, and but if you do make, here's the one thing I'd say: if you do happen to make some sort of voting ballot video, use your own criteria. But listening to the shallowness of folks, it's, again, I'm used to it. I have a boss who's about as shallow as a fucking kid pool, so I'm used to stupid people constantly putting their feet in their mouths every fucking 10 minutes. But have your own criteria. Don't listen to somebody else's criteria. And don't contradict yourself if you do make a video, because then you lose all credibility. I mean, some people don't have credibility to begin with, but when you say that you don't care if you're a good person or not, or great collections matter to you, and production values matter, and subs matter, and all this other shit, and then you throw on a guy that's got like 600 subs and does it from a phone, and you can hear nasally breathing. It's like, well, no, that's because he's your friend. You're moving from. Just say it. Just fucking say it. It just it doesn't bother me like it used to, because you now you know the person, and they've shown enough of themselves that none of this shit's a shock. But, I mean, where other folks don't know or can't figure it out. That's why I wish I was 1997 Sting with a baseball bat, just fucking clobbering people in the back of the skull, seeing if there's anything between the ears. There's a possibility, Eric. If you dream it, it can happen.
Use the picture of you and Marcel. You'll at least get Yannick's vote.
Yeah.
We know.
That was the last time I talked to him.
Yeah, it's
Yep. And I've had nothing to say to him since.
it had bigger potential.
Oh, he's on his
If it would have been done differently.
He's doing his YouTube shit.
I like some of the changes.
He does a football.
I think it kind of
YouTube
eliminates
podcast.
some
He
things,
makes money off of it.
but I
So
still
it
think
does
some of
damage to
the
them.
changes could have been even refined a little bit more.
Yep.
But it's one of those in which these are my opinions, and we're all entitled
I'm
to
about
them.
too. I gotta be up early.
Like Dave, I'm hoping that maybe I come across a few other channels that I can stomach to watch, because my list is very small. Because unlike Dave, who has consistently made videos more frequently over the last few years, unlike myself, I haven't come across a multitude of new ones. Last year's Hall of Fame, I stumbled across a few. Some of them I do watch. Others I'd like to eliminate from my memory. But it's still one of those that I like. I like the concept and what it actually is meant to accomplish. I'm not a fan of the fact that it is still very controversial in a lot of sense. And it's going to be hard for it to actually be able to move past that, because there's always going to be that history. Maybe with some of the changes that the history of things that happened in the past from a controversial perspective, if it maintains, maybe those will be somewhat pushed to the background. And with the changes, those potentially go by the wayside, because I understand the reason why he did certain things, which eliminates some of those possibilities. But even then, there's still some things that are missing that could have even eliminated those possibilities more. And I'll leave it at that. I've never voted. I don't plan to vote. I'll stick to my opinions of what I feel, and in the event that I feel it's something more worthwhile and eliminate some of the controversy surrounding it, maybe I will vote. But until then, I have no intention. That's just me.
As the Beatles say, let it be.
Let it be. Yep. And I will say, before we went live, Vinny mentioned something. He was like, it's not that he dislikes it. He's like, but there are certain people that are still very active, quote unquote, in the community that don't make videos. They watch videos, they join live streams, they're involved in the conversation, they add value and are heavily involved. However, they don't make videos. Those people become eliminated for the opportunity to be a part of this. Who's to say they want to be? I'm not saying that, these individuals would, but, there are individuals that watch our show. There are individuals that watch Carlos's show. We know Bobby does Instagram. Eric does Instagram. Yannick does Instagram. Paul does Instagram. But you guys specifically, and this is what Vinny was alluding to, you guys are still just as much a part of the quote unquote YouTube community as those who make content. And yes, that also includes Vinny. But it's like, how can you figure out a way to take that into consideration to look at those individuals that are still quote unquote part of the community? They just don't make content.
I think most of what I was saying is I think those people, the reason why you have 7,000 subscribers or whatever, guess what? A good majority of those people don't make content.
Very
So
true.
not allowing, well, again, you have to do your voting as a video, correct?
So your ballots have to be done via video. That doesn't mean that, for instance, Dave couldn't post a video and say, you know what, I want to nominate Sanderson to Orr and Paul and Uncle Vinny and Bobby and Yannick. But were you gonna? And this is the way I explained it to you. Great, you put their channel name on there, but guess what? There's no videos. So it does ultimately kind of defeat the purpose. And no, guys, I'm not trying to say go make videos. I just don't like the fact that they can't figure out a way to include something like that to recognize those individuals that are just as much a part of the community as those who make videos.
I would just like for them to be able to vote, is where I was getting at more than anything. But via email, via Instagram, via something, because again, those people count. The reason why you have all the views and all that are because of those people. So while content creators vote for content creators, great. But again, the people that watch your channel, that participate on your channel, they should have some way to vote. That's my main thing. Not that they should get in. I don't make videos. I'm the left box on the IRP, and I'm just hanging out with the dogs. I don't make videos. No Hall of Fame for me. Don't want to be in it. Don't care. But what I was saying is somebody who, as myself, should be able to vote for somebody that I watch, that I sub to, that I comment on, and I should be able to do that. That was all I was getting to, because I think all those people's opinions and their votes and their support matter. That's all. Soapbox check.
And I don't disagree. I wasn't disagreeing with you. It's the reason, the why that it's set up the way that it is it's about bringing visibility to other channels. And, not saying that those who have been around for at least a year, regardless of making videos or not, should be irrelevant. Because as I alluded to, these guys are just as important as the people who make the content. They are just as much involved as those who make the content. So why would you exclude the voting audience? But here's why. People don't look past this YouTube Hall of Fame concept that it's strictly content creators voting for content creators. And yes, I hate using that term, but people who make videos voting for people who make videos. That's the premise. And people, a lot of the individuals in the YouTube community, so to speak, are more involved in and more active on Instagram. But that still doesn't mean they're not part of the community. Because they, like I said, they're commenting on videos, they're on live streams. They're adding value to conversations, asking questions, providing their feedback, their opinions and stuff. Somehow, shape, form, or fashion, they need to find a way to expand to allow those individuals to potentially cast a ballot. The question becomes, though, is how do you know for sure that they're involved? You know, that's the thing. You can verify how long they've had their YouTube account opened, because if you don't have a YouTube account, you can't comment.
Mm-hmm.
No, and in the scheme of things, it could cause more complications, Carlos. I don't disagree with that, because it would be very difficult to police it potentially. So and there's additional maybe complications surrounding it, because how can you prove that somebody's actually active? Just because they've made a few comments on a few people's videos, does that really mean that they're active? You know, so I like the idea of trying to figure out a way to potentially increase those individuals that can submit a ballot. But Carlos does have a valid point that it could be more difficult and could cause some added level of controversy somehow, shape, form, or fashion. Maybe not. I don't know. It could do more harm than good.
Soapbox extend.
Yeah. No, retract.
No. I'm getting on mine. So the first thing you want, he says, again, and this is what it should be about, community. But when you take out a part of the community, it's not a community. It's a country club. That's what it is. This isn't an end-all, be-all, save-all solution. But I know these guys don't think of things through. If I'm doing this, if I'm Ticket Leprechaun and I'm saying, hey, this is what parameters are going to be, whatever. Say, hey, everybody can vote if you've been on YouTube for 1 year. How we go about it, okay, if you're making videos, you have to make a video response. You can't take the cop way out and say, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to write it down or in the comments. If you're Vinny, if you're Yannick, Bobby, Paul, Dr. Exclusive, Joe, Eric, I'm going to make a video after this one. This is going to be for you guys who don't make videos but have been on here for a year. I need 3 vouchers, 3 replies after you comment your Hall of Fame selections. I'm going to need 3 vouchers, and this might take time on his part, on Jake's part, to go through this and say, hey, this is how we got to do it. I will check those vouchers. So Vinny comments, he makes his list. Say, okay, Jake here, he's been on the podcast on, he doesn't make his own, but he's been on since December 2020. So there's that. There's comments. I don't know what else you need, but there's you've got video proof for him. Eric, same thing here. That Yannick, more recently though, but that would have been something to think about. Again, would you have more work to do? Yeah, but again, if you want to say this is your baby, you know what? Babies need work. They require work from you as quote unquote a parent to make sure they grow, make sure they learn, make sure they become a useful human. So that's what I would have done, because you want community. And if you don't include everybody that's part of a community, even again, some people might not have, they might have a laptop or a computer, but they might not have the camera. They might have the old school big box computer with the modem on the side. So you don't know someone's situation, and then again, that's just when you take people out of a community, it doesn't build a community. It fractures the community. Because
Agreed.
it makes an exclusivity thing again. And where you did well with a couple points, yeah, went backwards on another one. Because I like where you have to have some years making video. That should have been right away. You knew it wouldn't be, because Mike's friends would not have gotten in. All those clowns and idiots, the Jersey Jack off, and all these other asshats that they wouldn't have got in. But as the kids say, better late than never. I don't know what kids, probably the kids from the 50s. So with that, soapbox retract.
Vinny, obviously you were about to say something, or you wouldn't have unmuted yourself.
Yeah. I don't know. But like Caesar says, love the hobby, people. Keep collecting. Just do your thing, keep participating. None of it matters. Just do you. Think for yourself, do for yourself. Hang out where you want to hang out. And guess what? There's people that appreciate you.
And not for the amount of money you spent.
Collections mean nothing. If you collect 7 cards a year, or you collect 700 cards a year, whatever.
Very true. Very true, Vinny.
I just like I said, it's a cool deal. Not my particular cup of tea. Let them do them. Fine with it. That's why I try to keep my opinions out of it, because it doesn't matter to me. But when I see people like you guys have been putting stuff out for years, naturally in my thought, you should be nominated.
We're not in the new crew. So only the old crew could technically promote old crew people. When you have no old crew, it's kind of hard for people to even know who you are potentially.
True.
So,
Ed probably will put something out, not putting words in his mouth, but he's usually good for promoting the old crew. Brad, if Joey does one, I mean, there'll be a few, which again, I always think the people I never expect to get anything. I never expect to be part of the clique. So that's fine. Those are people I don't want to be associated with. The old guys, as in the Hall of Fame, first couple of years. Again, Snoop, I don't mind him at all. He's a good-hearted guy. Works in the grocery business, so he's got something there. I can commiserate with him, but he'll do one. He's had, I think, me on there a couple times. Again, I always say it's a wasted vote. Throw it somewhere else, because I ain't getting in. I won't ever get in because I'm not going to win a good guy, and I'm not going to win a lifetime, because if you're gearing that more towards guys from the old era that don't make videos anymore,
There's a lot of them.
I still make videos. So, I don't know. As Bart Simpson said, do what you want. Don't matter. So,
Wrap us up, Dave.
thanks for everyone jumping in tonight. Good conversation as always. Again, liked it a lot. For a show that I had pretty much lowest of low expectations, it's one of our, I think, better back and forths. Thanks for Robert making time out of his busy schedule to come in. Vinny for jumping on. And just thank you. Remember, like, dislike, comment, hate mail. No anthrax or pipe bombs, though. Fuck you. Subscribe if you want. Bang on that stupid notification thing, because then you can actually know when we're on. Because 7:05 tends to drag along once in a while. It's very rarely that it happens. Night, Eric. But send us money, crypto, money orders, cash, duffel bags, whatever the fuck. Just send it. Send it our way instead of these other assholes. Fuck this other shit. He's Vinny. That's Steve. I'm Dave. This has been the Instant Revolution podcast. Remember, card brings us all together. The friendships we forge in this hobby, that's what it should really be about. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.